What is Madueke's future? Will we sign a striker? And what on earth are we going to do about Wolverhampton? Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes every single damn time and subscribe if you are new. The road to 100k continues. The Wolves versus Chelsea preview, and we must decide if we are going to repent for our sins or we are going to get revenge or a bit of reflecting. I don't know what we're going to do, because last season they did the double. I was looking over old footage and I was flabbergasted to see what had happened, what had transpired. 2-1 loss in this same game. Doherty late goal and Cuckoo tried to bring it back. The famous 3v1, Sterling, Palmer, Jackson. Sharing is caring. This time I need good decision making. I need awareness. I need it all, because that can't run. That cannot see the day. I cannot see the light of day again. And then of course we see Cunha Matata, hat-trick at the bridge. Devastating fashion. Penalty, own goal from Disasi. Pedro Neto on the wing, causing plenty of problems. But this time we've got one of their guys on our side. So now, in this game, I need to see a response. Now, speaking of Pedro Neto, let's get into the news. Pedro Neto, manager has indicated, he has given clues, that Blues clues, you love the reference, potentially that Pedro Neto will not be starting, just purely because he started in the last game, obviously on Thursday, and we're managing minutes. We have to be careful with the physicality, the fitness of the player. Tactically, I don't think it's an issue, but it is an issue potentially for João Felix, and he's kind of hinted that again he might be on the bench because he's just joined. Physically, he's ready, but tactically, not so sure. So bear that in mind in terms of what to expect from the starting 11. They could start one of them, but again, they could both also be on the bench as well. Now, I want to get into the quotes and the transfer news, little bits of pieces of news before we get into my team, what I would do, and what we think we may see also on that pitch on Sunday. Now, quickly, Napoli, Chukwuemeka, they're interested. Now, there's a discussion taking place. I have no idea if this is a triangle transfer once again, but we don't tend to see triangle transfers or swap deals too often. There tends to be somebody that falls through the cracks. But Chukwuemeka, on those wages, we'll see if Napoli can accommodate 115. I am feeling like he is going to go somewhere, because I think the talent speaks for itself. It's really the injury record we got to look at. Lukaku, obviously, personal terms agreed, and we're still looking at Osimhen's, personal wage demands as too high. So I don't really know how this is all going to connect up, but I would be surprised if they're not all linked, and when they're having these discussions, everybody is being spoken about, not just Chukwuemeka. Bournemouth also interested in taking Kepa on loan. David Ornstein reports. Now, Kepa's going into the final year of his contract this season. 2025 is when it expires. So him going out on loan, it doesn't really benefit us too much, apart from maybe wages being paid, a percentage of those wages, because once he finishes that loan, if they're happy, they can take him on a free. They don't have to come and pay us. And if they're not happy, he comes straight. Well, he just goes into the wilderness. He just goes into the abyss. So we usually, when we look to get rid of a player, but they've got a year left and we want money, we get them on an extension for a contract, and then of course the player value goes up a little bit, and we can negotiate an obligation to buy, or an option to buy, or whatever we wish. So I would expect potentially, if this is going to go through, that Chelsea will get Kepa to sign a new 1-year extension on his contract. It's not what you want to hear, but it's the reality of the situation. Either he is sold in this window, or he is sold in the next window with that extra year extension, or they are happy to let him go for no money. But I'm not so sure if that's going to be the case. So I would expect something to happen before we see that loan deal go through. Ipswich also finalising the Broja deal. That's great business if they stay up for the 30 million obligation. If they stay up, we'll see how he does there. But they are adding pieces to the puzzle, Calvin Phillips, etc. Now let's get into Maresca's quotes. So Maresca's quotes, wow, he had a lot to say. Bold as always, and bald as well. Cole Palmer, first of all, could be potentially a 9 option to keep in locked into your heads here going into the season if we don't get a striker. He's played with the idea on Thursday. He's also mentioned previous games, probably the home game against Arsenal last year. He had a really good performance in that role. And we are gathering quite a few 9s, it seems, that are, some of them not really 9s. Felix and Cuckoo, Palmer as options behind Jackson and Guiu as well. Haven't heard anything about Datro Washington. That's how you know these brothers are so far away from the first team that I've got to put them together just to make it clear to you. But yeah, Datro Fofana and Denzel Washington. Where are these guys? Where are these brothers? Non-existent, it seems. Not a single question asked about them and no words spoken of them. So I don't know if they're 9 options. It feels like they're not. They'll probably have to go out on loan at the bare minimum or stay in the under 23s, but we'll see what happens with them. I want to see also on the quotes on, well, Madueke, because we got to speak about that kind of warning, that message that he sent to the squad, really, about your work rate, your consistent drive to perform in the training sessions, because you're not going to play, he said, in the Premier League or in the Conference League if you do not show me what I want to see in training on a consistent basis. And that might just allude and give you a clue as to why Madueke maybe didn't start. Or if you're wondering when will he start, he did flag up that in training he needs to be more consistent. And he also did leave the door open for an exit and say there is a possibility in a world where we get a great proposal, which we've seen put out many a time by many reports, that he could also still go. The transfer window is still open. We'll see what happens. This is why in my video yesterday morning, I did allude to the fact that, yes, Kay, the bold words are coming out. You know, he's speaking, you know, quite clearly and speaking well. He's putting his sentences together very well, I must say. He's a good talker. However, he's still talking on behalf of the board. He's still talking on behalf of the hierarchy. It's not his own decisions. It's a group decision at the bare minimum. He is a head coach. And the reason why I say that is because how, in my opinion, can you leave the door open for Madueke, but the door is not open for Mudryk? You know, it's very clear to me who has shown more so far, who is giving more output and more impact on the pitch. However, he says on Mudryk, this is not just Mudryk tonight. It's since he joined the club. He's had some good moments, some bad moments. If he becomes consistent, that's one step forward. We're going to try and help him change, but he needs to understand in the final third, needs to make the right decisions. And of course, there's a lot of mistakes. It's about choices. Again, just basically telling us that he's going to have to hold his hand in the next couple of weeks. Conference League, he's going to continue, I think, to play him, to try and get the performances out of him, to get the confidence into him. But in the Premier League, wouldn't expect it because there's a lot more on the line. The stakes are higher. The quality of the game is higher. Don't think he's going to take those gambles and those risks. So we'll see how the season pans out. That Maresca and Mudryk kind of one-to-one tuition. If it goes somewhere, if it progresses, if it improves the player, great. If it doesn't, will he be the first one to make it clear that I've tried my best, now it's time for you to make a move, make a sale? Or are the board going to continue to persist because he is the number 10 and they did invest a lot? And how is that going to affect, you know, fine margins in terms of points on the board? Because that's what it's all about, wins. So yeah, interesting to see how that materializes between politics, expectation, price tags, etc. And also, like I said, with Madueke, the fact that the door is still open is again a club thing, it feels like, because for me, I can't really see how he should be the next winger to go. At very least, he should be part of the squad and giving us impact and giving us an option off the bench to give that 1v1 threat that he brings, something different to the team. But again, we'll see. Now, he also did make it clear that Sanchez is going to be the number 1 for the Premier League. Hopefully he doesn't have to find out the hard way, but he may, because you know my thoughts. I'd much prefer to continue with Jorgensen in goal. I think he was really good in the game on Thursday, made good saves, good clean passing, no mistakes. But Sanchez has been put forward politically, it feels, as the first choice goalkeeper. And that's that. End of conversation until otherwise. Now, he did at least allude to the fact that there is a chance for change. It depends on performance. It depends on form. It depends on how Sanchez, you know, takes responsibility with that role. Sure, it's something that can change. We saw Petrovic come in due to an injury, and then that was that. So, like I said, it's not something that we have to feel is set in stone for the whole season, but even this early on in the season, I don't even feel like it should be a thing, but it is regardless. So we'll see how that all goes. Now, let's get into the Wolves, you know, team selection side of things, because there's a lot going on there as well. Okay, so welcome to a new segment in regards to the previews. Hopefully it helps you guys visualize what I'm trying to explain and how I see the game coming into this fixture. Now, these are the squad numbers for our players. Sometimes it's difficult to keep up. They change quite regularly. But yeah, these are the squad numbers. Hopefully you recognize. If not, I'll try and give more detail next time. Now, Wolves lost 2-0 to Arsenal away at the Emirates last weekend. It was Larson up front, 6'4". Haven't watched a load of him. Of course, we're used to seeing Cunha in these half spaces. Cunha, really good dribbler, ball carrier, you know, just a technically really secure player. Sometimes finishing let him down, actually. But against us at Stamford Bridge, as I mentioned earlier, it didn't with that hat-trick. So I don't know if Cunha is going to start in this game because they might go into a really low block. They might decide that they're just going to hit us on the counter like they usually do in transition. But if not, Larson, be aware on those crosses. Levi Colwell, we saw Badiashile not really cutting them out in the last game. Cucurella in the team here. Make sure that we're physically up to the task to deal with this guy in the box, because aerially at 6'4", I'd be expecting him to come with something. Now, Jorgensen is not going to be in the team, it seems, and it is going to be Sanchez. I had him starting, as you can see, but I'm going to put Sanchez in goal there from the bench because he is going to be the one that plays. Hopefully he has a good display. Now, Gusto, when Cole Palmer's in the team on this right-hand side, I'm just forgetting about Wolves for a second. We could talk about Podence in a minute. We could talk about potentially Cunha playing. Obviously, we used to have Neto dealing on this right-hand side, causing us problems. We need to talk about ourselves. Gusto, for me, last season, Gusto overlapping Palmer, who came inside, was the best connection and relationship we had on that right-hand side last season. Now, we've spoken about inverted fullbacks. We've spoken about Reece James in pre-season making it a back three. Obviously, this is still Gusto. Cucurella coming into midfield. Caicedo moving forward. Lavia. Whatever you want to do, right? But for me, if we're going to play Cole Palmer, and I'm alluding to the quotes about Madueke here, potentially still needing to work harder as much as he, you know, did do very well to cut inside and score that goal. Or not even cut inside, but make that fantastic off-the-ball run and score that goal in the previous game. I just can't see a situation where after those quotes, we see Madueke start, and then we have Nori as a left back, very good going forward. Madueke needs to make sure that he's getting back. Madueke needs to make sure that he is tracking his runner and he's not leaving Gusto against two players while he's up here or here. You know, it's just a concern of mine with those quotes in training and the work rate, and we did question it in preseason a bit. As much as he is talented, as much as he can score now, he's shown a couple of moments. Bournemouth, that game on Thursday, got a great dribbler, gonna give a great threat in behind. It could be a low block, and it probably will be from Wolves. So I'm just expecting players like Madueke right now to maybe come off the bench, give us an impact in that way over necessarily starting in this game, because again, I don't know if the manager trusts him from a work rate standpoint. If he does, then because we don't know if Pedro Neto is going to play, and again, he might not, you know, he did hint that he might not, we might see it. Now, obviously in the first game of the season, we didn't see Neto. We saw something I don't want to see again, but I don't know if we will, to get Enzo into the team, to make it a midfield three. We saw Nkuku, bear with me, first time. We saw Nkuku on the wing. I don't want to see this again. I really don't. I think Nkuku is better in these positions next to the striker. I think these two could develop quite the partnership, but it leaves you open with who is going to be your left winger, especially when Cucurella is not the most expansive attacking fullback. Who is going to be your left winger? I don't know. Enzo, for me, I have him on the bench purely because I think in a game like this where we're talking about transitions, these are our more mobile players in Caicedo and Lavia to help us defend. I want us to be airtight. I want us to keep a clean sheet. Wolves are a very physical team. They've got a very physical midfield. And I'm thinking, listen, Enzo, great pass the other night. You could maybe come on 30 minutes to go and you start spraying. Right? You start playing these incredible wide diagonals that you played for Madueke. If Felix is coming on as well, you can start looking at playing those passes over the top. Loads of things that you can do once there's tired legs, potentially. Wolves are exerted all their energy in the first half, and we're starting to look at them as a team that are now going to start to falter in the back end of the game. I've seen many top teams, they win the game in the second half, right? Obviously, the other night it wasn't so impressive because the quality of the team, we should be putting them away a bit more comfortably. But in a game like Wolves away, where we know as a fan base, this is going to be a really difficult game, it's going to be close. There's no reason why we can't win it in the second half, or maybe we can't, you know, change the game in the second half with all the options we have and be stronger in regards to, you know, passing like that from those deeper positions. I want to see Enzo in these deeper positions. I don't want to see Enzo in the 10. I don't want to see Enzo really high up the pitch, counter pressing. I want to see Enzo in this position. And if that means defensively we're a little bit, you know, weaker, more exposed, whatever the manager feels, then maybe it's something to manage and it's something to kind of
bring on off the bench. I'm not sure. It's a really tough decision for him what he's going to do with those three midfielders, because they're all really good on their day. We just don't know. We don't know when they potentially suit what team and what time. Low blocks, perfect for Enzo to make those passes, but like I said, transitions maybe not so good. I'd love to see Neto play. I'd love to see Neto play on that left-hand side. We haven't even got Sterling's. Here are your red markers, Sterling's, Chukwuemeka's, etc. People that are not involved. We don't really have any other option because Mudryk for me can't be on that left wing, and I don't really want to see Nkuku there. But if he does play him, then maybe, like I said, you see that midfield three that you saw against Manchester City. It's Jackson versus Gu. I'd still stick with Jackson. I think we can see Gu is a really hard worker. He really does press very well. But is he ready? I'm not so sure. Not for these games quite yet. I'd let him play in the Conference League, build his confidence, get some goals, and then we'll take him into the Premier games if we need to, if we don't sign that striker. But yeah, Wolves, like I said, they're going to be a threat in behind. They're going to be a threat on the break. They're a strong physical team. We will, as the season goes on, get more detailed with opposition teams and their analysis, but just wanted to quickly try this out, see if I can actually do it properly, first of all, and also just speak on Chelsea a little bit and mention what they could do in terms of going the other way. But yeah, we need to get our guy Cole Palmer in the game as much as possible, and we need to hopefully see a win, and a comfortable one at that. So we'll see how that goes. So there you have it. That's all I've got on my mind for the Wolves versus Chelsea game. The biggest head scratcher for me will continue to be all season Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia. Who plays in that midfield? Depending on if we're counter-attacking against a dominant team, we have the ball, their threat on transition, low block. It's a lot. So let me know in the comments, who would you play? 2 out of those 3. He-Chan, will we be able to stop him on the wings? Hopefully. And of course, shout out to Calvin as well, top of the FPL Lateness Greatness League. Over 1,400 teams already, people playing. If you haven't signed up, the link is in the description. The code is there. We've got an FPL league. Sorry if you didn't find out last week. It's not too late. This is probably cutting it close. If you don't join this week, you might never have a chance of winning. So get in there. Like I said, link in the description. Big up your damn selves. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. In a bit, people. Peace.